Hello and hey, today we're messing around with golf with your friends. This time going to be the Oasis Classic Guide, updated for 2020, the newest physics, the official release, the build 1.14 something something something. This will be the most up-to-date guide for Oasis, hopefully on the internet when it goes up. The Forest one should have just come out, and we'll get right into the course. But first I want to say, if there are shots that I do not show or do not mention, please check the comments. Something may have come up. These are all kind of new to almost everybody. So it's just the sort of thing that we have to kind of play by ear. Without further ado, like I said, here's the course. All right, hole number one. There's probably a ton of different ways to make this into a 2, maybe even a possible 1 at this point. But if you want to get really sweaty, we're going to just go the camera all the way up, go 2 tiles forward with the thick part of the cursor, and you'll go in this hole every time. And the second shot, we're going to go 1 power. I won't do stuff like that for every single hole, just because that seems a little bit ridiculous when the powers aren't that specific, but just kind of want to put that out there for people who are interested. Hole number 2. Go ahead and aim back at the hole number 1 flag, full power, and let it rip. There's obviously a ton of different ways to get in the hole here. This is just sort of a flashier way of doing so. Hole 3, we're going to turn around once again. There are a few trees off to, I guess, the left, we'd say. It's the second tree. Want to aim just like a little bit left on that tree. Full power, let her go. This seems to be the most consistent one of this entire thing. We used to be able to aim at the hole 2 flag, which was kind of silly, but that seems to be gone, so that second tree will have to do. Hole number 4, you can either go the specific power to get in and up to that hole, or you can go 3.5 power, aiming directly at this crease. With a generous window, you don't have to be exactly 3.5 or anything to get up and in. Hole 5, the spot I like to go is kind of 1 tile to our right and like 6 tiles forward, and then a little bit right of that. It's sort of like the line, it kind of defines itself behind that third pillar or second from the end. That's a lot of words to say the thing that you're looking at, but you aim right about there, and then from any point up here, you can kind of go just under 3 power, kind of aiming in the middle of this. We're going to bounce off walls several times, which is why it's kind of a more forgiving shot than trying to go for the dunk or the Kobe, as we like to say. Hole number 6. We're going to go ahead and aim down here at this dark tile on the hill, the first tile on the hill. We want to go just under full power. Kind of aim right at the bottom left corner of that dark tile and let her go. As long as you get back to the left wall, I've never seen a ball come out. I have seen some kind of weird shots if the ball stays, for whatever reason, in the center of that tunnel, but just kind of be aware. You know you're in good shape if you bounce back to that left wall. Hole number 7, there's like a hieroglyph thing over here. I like to call it a pouch, so we want to aim like with the pointer just outside of the left side of that pouch. That'll allow us to bounce off these walls perfectly, get the hole in 1. Hole 8, probably the recommended strat, is just to go kind of full power directly at the hole. This is not a specific shot right here. And don't worry, the specific one is coming just a few seconds. I like to get the camera sort of 4 tiles up, kind of get that specific point, and then aim basically exactly right here. There are a couple different pixels you can work with, but it is this specific, so play around with it if you want to. Otherwise, just take the free 2 with the full power shot at the beginning. Hole number 9, I like to aim just kind of over here, full power. Just really anything to get you to the long corridor that we are getting to right now. There's plenty of different shots that get you over here. And once you are over here, depending on how close you are, obviously it's going to affect your power. And then how far left or right of the flag you are, you want to go to the opposite side of the flag. So obviously we're going to aim to the left of the flag here, about 2.25 power. If you're all the way at the back wall, you want to go like 2 3/5 power, but because we bumped up pretty far, we want to have just enough kind of energy, for lack of a better term, to get in that hole. That one could be a little tricky. It is kind of a skill-based hole, but if you work at it, you'll get it in a couple tries. No problem. Hole 10, there's kind of this row of bricks on the far wall I'm aiming at, just above the edge of this platform we're on. I have to go to the second one. Go just right of it. Full power. Gets us basically to the center line every single time. Want to aim basically directly at the flag. Just over 3 power. Kind of goofing around here. Because I couldn't quite tell which way the ball was going to go because the hills aren't exactly perfect in this game. But either way, it would have been fine, I think. Just kind of being a little bit too much of a perfectionist for the guide. Didn't want to miss and embarrass myself, but that's going to happen anyway at some point. Hole number 11, I'll show you kind of a goofy shot first. It is super glitchy and very specific, so probably don't go for this, but you can kind of bounce off of nothing and then jump a few times in the water, and if you time it perfectly, you can get over here. Because I was a little bit late on the jump, the ball kind of took a leftward trajectory, but I don't recommend that at all, because just as effective, we're just going to get in the water any way you possibly can. I like kind of going about 2.5 power and kicking off this wall. Then we prepare ourselves to jump, so we need to do a little quick jump right about here, and then jump again. I was a little bit late, so you see I almost got to the wall, but it's not usually that tight of timing. I just was a little bit late there. And then, of course, knock it in for the easy 2. A 1's possible, but it would have been a lot of effort to try to get that one for the video. So I'll leave that to you guys and your awesome montages. So next hole, we want to go 3 and like 4/5 power-ish. We're trying to aim to the right side of the crease you see me bouncing off of right there. That is important because we want to end on this side of the hill so we can use the hill to launch over to the hole and skip the kind of the most tedious and treacherous obstacle of the game. It's just sort of the same exact power aiming again, and even if you miss that shot, it's an easy 3. It's a kick in 3. The first one is really the obstacle there. Next hole, I'm going to go about 1 3/4 to 4/5 power. I'm aiming at the far like trapezoidal block that you see in the distance. Obviously, we want to avoid the up and down moving block. And then again, it's not ultra specific what we're doing here. We've got about a cup width the entire thing because we can kind of catch any quarter. But I like to go 2 and about 5/6, aiming right about here. Point of aim will change based on the first shot. I know I'm saying a lot of words while this stuff is going kind of quickly, but it's just sort of these are closer to skill shots, and I probably should say and just leave it at that. Hole 14, I like to go just under 3 power. Obviously, we want to go when the mouth is open. And that gets us to stop in here, and it delivers us about the same amount of power out of the chute there every single time. And then from here, the safe shot is to kind of go just to the left of the right center pillar at 2 power, and that'll get us into the hole. If you want to, the crack in the door. If you want to go more aggressively and try to get more power to get up there, you probably won't be on a straight line unless you get it like perfect. So 2 is probably possible. Obviously, we just kind of stopped on that hill because physics sometimes don't work, but it'll be a very manageable 3 if you stick to those principles. Hole 15, a hole that I'm honestly just not very good at because the different bounces that can happen when you try to bounce over here to this small area. I do just over 3 power, like to see like a little bit of yellow going past that 3rd bar. And then from here, this is going to be a skill shot again. There's not too many indicators you can see. You just kind of have to know it from knowing it. I might be a little bit too far to the left here, so hopefully this works out for me. And it looks like, yeah, I didn't quite give it enough thing, but end up touching the white. So I'll go ahead and kick this in. But you see, depending on where you end up, you're going to have a different shot. So it is what it is. This is kind of a tricky hole. This is a very tricky course. The par is only 60 compared to some of the newer courses, but those 3s and 4s, they're tough to hit, so just look alive here. Next hole, full power. I'm kind of aiming at that first curved dark tile on the bottom here. It's pretty easy, and you won't end up in the exact same spot every time, but that doesn't matter quite as much. We're aiming at, like, for lack of a better term, that cat's armpit. It kind of has that dark mark above those pots. Aim full power right at that, or right near that, and that gets us another 2 on a par 4, which is just lovely. Another hole that I'm not very good at, as you see from the stroke count, we have to go just under full power, aiming kind of very specifically where you saw me. It's kind of a pixel perfect shot, I believe, at this point, and sorry that I didn't show that for longer. I'm just not very good at it, and I don't have any words of advice to help you hit it, and for that I apologize. And lastly, hole 18, I do believe that this can be hole-in-one. It's just going to be kind of a very specific shot, and I didn't quite have the time while wanting to work on all the other guides at the same time to do it. So I'm just kind of giving you a very easy 2. Full power, kind of showing that spot for a very long time. You're trying to hit the ground and not the base of that statue. And then for the second shot, aim at the right side of the cup. 1 power, and it'll kind of just trickle in for a nice and easy 2. So like I said, this course is one of the more difficult ones by nature. Like it's very fair. It's just it can be very tricky. There's not a lot of bowls and things like that to kind of guide your ball in, but it was the second course, so that's sort of to be expected. It's become one of my favorites, honestly. But like I said, I got to do a lot more of these guides, so I'll probably stop rambling in your ear. Hope that helps you. So as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Be safe, guys.